I wanted to talk about the fear of solo traveling today. I wanted to talk about this because I think this is a really, really important topic in terms of traveling alone and just like in like self development. Developing as a person or growing as a person. How many times were you really, really expecting or very hopeful to go somewhere? But you couldn't find somebody to go with, so you just ended up canceling or rescheduling or something like that. How many times has that happened? Now, if you're telling me it happened 0 times, you're a goddamn liar. Because this thing happens to everybody, and I'm pretty sure it's happened to you before. So, how do you get over the fear of traveling alone? So the whole strategy to be very comfortable with solo traveling is to start small and work your way up. Um, you wanna start small. Like for example, let's say you live in Providence, right? And you've never been to another city or state or country for a couple days on your own. So you just want to go to another city, right? You want to go to a city that's possibly close to your city, that's not going to require you a long time of travel, and that can allow you to come back um, if you really feel uncomfortable. And I mean, you don't want to just come back, just because you feel uncomfortable. But you want to give yourself that option, just so that you can subconsciously feel that you are comfortable to come back anytime. I don't want you to be thinking, oh, I feel uncomfortable, I'm just going to go back. No, just so you can kind of play on your subconscious mind a little bit, and allow it to be comfortable. You want to start small like that, and let's say you become comfortable with New York City. Well, then just go further. Go to Canada, or go to the other side of the U.S. alone. Take baby steps, and then you're gonna start getting more and more and more comfortable. Then from there on, go to Europe. You can go to Europe. Europe is very easy to travel. Or you can go to Southeast Asia, and from there on, you will start to develop the comfort. And as of meeting people, or being alone or whatever, I feel like I've had the best times, or meeting people when I was traveling outside of the US. I'll be honest. The hostel situation in the US is not the best in terms of meeting people. In some cities, like, you'll meet some really cool people, but in a lot of cities, it's not going to be that social. A lot of people are only there for business, whether it's interviews or whether they're kind of like seeing if it's a city they'd like to move to or whatnot. You want to, in terms of really good hostel situations, I found the best hostel situations to be in Southeast Asia, of course. And you're going to meet a lot of friendly folks and people who are out there, to have fun and to discover and to meet other people. And Europe as well. I've found Europe, to have a really good hostel system from what I've seen. Made some good friends while traveling Europe as well. How I got comfortable with just getting a an airplane ticket and just going wherever I want to go. So first things first, I remember I wanted to go to, I believe it was Washington D.C. Yeah, think that was my first solo trip out of state, I believe. Yeah, that was my first solo trip out of state. And I remember like asking my friends and my brothers, like, if they wanted to go with me, and nobody wanted to go. Like me personally, I wanted to go because I had time off of work, and the ticket was really cheap, and the DC has so much to offer in terms of things to do that I've wanted to do, like the cool museums, the really cool zoo they have, and all of that. Plus, I just wanted to experience, something new. It was my time off work. I'm not just gonna spend it in at home, So that's when I hit, when it hit me, like, I've gotten to this certain age and I've never traveled alone. that's kind of nuts, to me at least. It was like, it really hit me like, oh man, I really need to do a solo trip. Like, how long am I going to be living like this, just not being able to do things I want, putting restrictions on myself just because I don't have somebody to go with. So from there on, I was like, okay, man, I am doing this. I'm just gonna get the ticket, because if I don't get that ticket, I'm just gonna back out. I got the ticket to go to DC for 2 nights, and I got a hostel. I remember researching, thinking whether I should get an Airbnb or a hostel. I got the hostel because of the social aspect. I was, optimistic. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna meet people. I'm gonna have people to do stuff with and whatnot. Go to the museums, go to the zoo, and this and that. So a couple days before, I'm like, wow, man. I had gotten the ticket like a month before or something like that. And like, a couple days, I'm like, oh man, wow, this is gonna be my first trip. Damn. Uh, it hit me. Even though it was just 2 nights, now that I look back at it, it's like it's nothing, But for me, it was a bit, kind of nerve wracking. I'm gonna be going to a hostel where I'm gonna be sharing rooms with strangers. That was a big one too for me, because I was just not really used to that. What if I'm sleeping next to a serial killer or something like that? So I just went, took the plane, a couple hours or an hour and a half, something like that. I don't remember how long the plane ride was. I get to DC. I take the train to where my hostel is, the center of DC. I get off the train station, and I'm on my Google Maps, trying to figure out where this hostel is. I go into the hostel, right? I check in. I look at the common area, and it's just people sitting down doing work. It's like literally a bunch of tables, like almost like conference tables, and people are on their laptops, look just like a conference meeting. And I'm like, what the hell is this, man? Am I in a hostel, or what the hell is this? Did I miss like a memo or something? So after that, I remember going into the room, and it was a bunch of people. I'm like, hi, I say hi to people, and everybody's just looking at me like, I'm like, okay, man. So for me, I mean, thinking back to it being my first experience doing something like this, man, I was like, wow, I don't know if this whole solo traveling hostel thing is for me, man. These people do not look very friendly. So it was not the best experience. But after that, I stayed, I stayed optimistic. I tried to make some conversation. I did find some interesting people later on that evening. We went for dinner, so I kind of made some friends. But most people, the thing about that house was that most people were there either for like interviews or for like a job trip or work related trip. Where they travel as like teams and have these meetings over there. So that wasn't, the best hostel experience all in all. So that happens like 6 months later, something like that. 8 months later, I start thinking about going to Montreal from all the great things I hear about it. So I went to Montreal. This time I tried the whole Airbnb thing. I was like, I mean, mainly because it's cheaper. It was cheaper at the time compared to the hostel situation in Montreal, and also because I wanted to see how the whole Airbnb thing is once you're traveling alone. Because I've tried it, with friends or family or whatever, but I've never tried it while traveling alone. So I tried that. It wasn't bad. The guy was actually really nice, gave me a lot of recommendations and whatnot. And that's when I started kind of getting more comfortable with traveling alone. I feel like the second time I traveled, it really got easier. But it was only like a 2 night trip as well. Like I just stayed in Montreal for 2 nights. So it wasn't that big. So after that, I believe, I don't know if it was like, what was it, like 9 months or a year or something like that. My first big trip, and this was the big trip, was to Southeast Asia. It was going to be a 3 month trip to Southeast Asia, and I remember being pretty nervous for that because leaving your home or whatever for 2 nights alone while traveling alone is one thing, but to do it for like 3 or 4 months, that's kind of a bigger commitment right there. And I remember getting the ticket, and it's like these foreign countries that I just don't know much about. I haven't done much research. Even if you do research, it's what you read in the books or whatever or online is not what you're gonna see. In terms of perception, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a different experience. So I remember getting the ticket for that and going via Istanbul, Turkey. So I remember going from the US to Istanbul. I stayed there for a couple days, and boy, did I have one hell of an experience there, good and bad. And from there, I stayed there for like 3 nights or 4 nights. From there, I took an airplane ticket to Southeast Asia, Thailand, Bangkok to be exact. And boy, was that like such a different world. It was just a totally different world for me personally. So from there on, I just kept on, hopping everywhere by bus. After that, I went to Malaysia by bus. I did the whole Malaysia and Singapore by bus, and getting back to Malaysia after Singapore, I flew to India. I traveled there for a little bit, and after that, man, I mean, after India, I just felt like I can travel anywhere. I feel like India taught me a lot of things about solo travel and just traveling alone in general, and being able to kind of take care of yourself and be very self-independent and be proactive while traveling. So after that, it's just been a kind of like a nonstop thing. So yeah, that was kind of like a strategy and kind of a little bit of my experiences. So yeah, it's not that hard, man. If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask, please just put them in the comment section. I'll be making some more videos. Again, a lot of my friends been asking me these questions, so I thought, why not just put them on YouTube and kind of help as many people as possible and see where this goes. So just let me know if you have any questions. I'll be making some more videos. Peace.